So I'd like to use this video to go a little bit more in depth about the evolution of the 3-4 defense, which is going to be run by 12 of the 32 teams this season after becoming extinct in the 1990s. A little history to start. Bud Wilkinson brought the 3-4 defense into the college game in the 1950s when Oklahoma ran the triple stack defense, but the scheme didn't make it into the pro game until the 1970s when Patriots head coach Chuck Fairbanks and Oilers defensive coordinator Bum Phillips introduced it to the NFL. And when New England and Houston went from bottom dwellers to upper echelon franchises, more and more teams reverted to the 3-4, and by 1980, 19 of the 28 teams were running it. The Giants really brought it to prominence in the 1980s, and the system made Lawrence Taylor a superstar. Bill Parcells had experience with the scheme in New England, as did some assistant coach named Bill Belichick, who learned it in Denver. The 3-4 made coaches rethink how to best take advantage of their pass rushers with or without their hand on the ground. The 3-4 began to fall into extinction in the 1990s due to the innovation of diverse offenses such as the West Coast and one-back systems. There were more blockers along the line of scrimmage and more shotgun formations. But then Dick LeBeau brought the zone blitz concept into the NFL, and the 3-4 awoke from the dead in the early to mid-2000s. 2004 was LeBeau's first year as the returning defensive coordinator in Pittsburgh after a failed head coaching stint with the Cincinnati Bengals. And in 2004, 4 of the 5 teams that ran a 3-4 were in the top 11 of total defense. The Patriots had just won a third title in 4 years. The Steelers led the NFL in defense, and the Chargers ranked just 18th, but that was a drastic improvement from 27th the year prior. We all know that the NFL is a copycat league, and with the success of the Patriots and Steelers, 8 teams went to the 3-4 10 years ago in 2005, and that total has now been risen to 12, although 17 ran it last year. And just to explain differences between a 4-3 defensive end and 3-4 outside linebacker, the 4-3 defensive end plays with their hand in the dirt and are usually about 200 to 300 pounds. They don't drop back in coverage the way a 3-4 outside linebacker does. From a scouting perspective, it's easier to find athletic linebackers than it is a pass rushing defensive end. The 4-3 outside linebacker is faster than the 3-4 backer because they need to cover more of the field. They're responsible for a third instead of a fourth, and that's a huge difference. But the 3-4 outside linebacker blitzes twice as much as a 4-3 one does. Von Miller is number 1 on my list. Miller's transitioned as a 4-3 strong side linebacker to a 3-4 backer with the addition of Wade Phillips as the defensive coordinator. The Broncos ran a 4-3 hybrid scheme with minimal blitzing, but we all know how much Phillips likes getting after the quarterback. Despite being in a 4-3 over previous years, Miller hasn't been asked to cover often. Pass rushing is his specialty. He mixes speed, agility, and strength with a wide variety of moves to get pressure on the quarterback. Miller has improved drastically as a run defender, whether he's setting the edge or crashing down. He sheds a lot of blocks. And like I said before, he doesn't cover a lot, but when he does, he actually isn't that bad. Obviously, it's not a strength. Basically, he'd play zone and take away tight ends or routes close to the line of scrimmage. Justin Houston is number 2, and his 22 sacks 2 years ago were just a half sack shy of Michael Strahan's single-season mark. But Houston is a lot more than a one-trick pony. But let's talk about that pass rushing first. He's got speed, he's got strength, he's got length, and a bunch of moves with his spin and shoulder dip being his go-to moves. And like I said, Houston is a complete player. His discipline in run defense is outstanding, considering his threat as a pass rusher. He's very aware and instinctive and fantastic at setting the edge. And with his remarkable strength, he does a great job of tackling and taking the ball carrier down to the ground. As you can imagine, due to his ability to get after the quarterback, he's not asked to drop into coverage a lot, but when he does, he can hold his own. He gets physical with tight ends and has the fluidity to drop back into zone coverage. Clay Matthews is number 3, and the last few seasons have shown how versatile he can be. Moving over to inside linebacker out of necessity due to the scarcity of depth at the position in Green Bay. There is nobody that can come around and bend the edge the way Matthews does, and he's relentless in pursuit. His first step is ridiculous. In run defense, he wins with leverage. In pass defense, the one thing that I was really impressed with when he played inside was his ability to step up in coverage and take crossing routes. DeMarcus Ware is number 4. Has the 34-year-old lost a step? Sure. But the talent is still there. His ability to use his hands is unmatched, and his length makes it tough for blockers to get a hold of him. The reason why he can still bring it is because of the variety of moves in his arsenal. In the running game, Ware's length and hands benefit him taking down runners, although he's not going to chase anyone down anymore. You can beat Ware if you get a hold of him, however, because he struggles to disengage. The 32-year-old Tamba Hali is 5th. He's been steadily declining over recent years, but still a very versatile player, and his ability allows Houston to not have to face as many double teams. As a pass rusher, Hali's always had a high motor, and when he was at his best, his quickness and counter moves led to his success. Hali is excellent at setting the edge in run defense, and in coverage, he's very effective at dropping back. Melvin Ingram checks in at number 6, breaking out with 10.5 sacks. 2015 was the first time that he's been able to stay healthy, so hopefully that trend continues for him. Ingram's very versatile and can play a lot of different positions. As a pass rusher, he's very quick off the ball, and his strength and leverage makes it easy for him to get after the quarterback. In the running game, Ingram does a solid job holding the edge, and ball carriers rarely get to the outside of him. He is a bit of a liability in coverage. He played defensive end in college and is still learning how to do it. Ryan Kerrigan is number 7 and was rewarded with a 5-year, $57.5 million contract last offseason. He had 9.5 sacks a year ago after recording 13.5 in 2014. He has a very quick first step, but also the power to bull rush a tackle. His motor always runs hot. He's a reliable tackler and uses leverage to get under blocks and make plays in the run game. In the passing game, he does a very solid job of knocking down passes at the line of scrimmage. Pernell McPhee is number 8. He's been an overlooked stud during his entire career. The stats don't really jump at you, but when you turn on the tape, I see a versatile hybrid power rusher who can rush off either side, and I love the violent type of style he plays with. He really knows how to use his length and strength. He sinks his hips and drives opposing tackles backwards. His run defense is what puts him in the top 10. He locks up blockers using his strength. He does a fantastic job at setting the edge and limiting a ball carrier from bouncing runs along the perimeter. He explodes and closes quickly on tackles, rarely misses. He does struggle in coverage. He doesn't have that agility and fluidity in his hips. I've got Brian Orakpo at number 9. He's super talented, but hasn't stayed on the field in 2 of his last 4 years, although he did make it through last year unscathed. His ability and strength make him a really good pass rusher. He can bend the edge and even line up inside and get after the passer. In run defense, Orakpo has the strength to set the edge and the ability to make tackles down the line, but wasn't asked to cover a lot in Tennessee. Whitney Mercilus rounds out my top 10, and many in Houston thought that Jadeveon Clowney would be the one providing J.J. Watt the help. Instead, it's been more of Mercilus. He had 12 sacks, which was second for his position. His first step quickness is superb and is great at bending the edge. Mercilus also possesses lateral agility, which helps him in the run game. Some other guys on my list. I've got Attaochu at number 12, Clowney at 13, and John Simon at number 19. Attaochu was my breakout player last year, and he made me look like a genius in 2015. I saw flashes during his rookie year in 2014, despite limited playing time. But in 2015, he showcased that ability to get after the quarterback. I probably have Clowney ranked too high because he hasn't played up to his potential as of yet, but maybe he'll finally put it together. It's frustrating because the talent is clearly there. If he doesn't put it together, watch out for Simon, who might be the most heralded player on my list. I'm curious what a couple second-year players bring after flashing as rookies. There's Bud Dupree at 31, Shane Ray at 32, Nate Orchard at 38, and Eli Harold at 39, although he really didn't put up great stats during his freshman campaign. All right, that's it for this list. Make sure you let me know in the comment section, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, whatever realm you're watching this on. Let me know below who's in your top 10, who's overrated, who's underrated. let me know. I'm Adrian Fedke. I am out. Later.